Alright folks, let's go through this form 8379. So this is the injured spouse allocation form, and so basically this is the relief form that the injured spouse can use to file and get their share back. Really simple. And if you look at part 1 here, okay, should you file this form? And this is more like a questionnaire. If you don't say some a personality test, you do some specific question, and then if you answer yes or no, yes will go to another question, just like a branched question. But it's not like a lot of option, a lot of branch, but rather just to make sure whether you qualify to file this, or whether you should file other, or you shouldn't file this at all. Okay, really simple. As I said, in order to qualify, you have to file your joint return, have your own income like wages or interest, pay your own taxes through the withholding or through the estimated payment, and not because you're injured party. Come on, you're not legally responsible for the debt. That's your spouse, right? And of course, you need to file within a certain time frame. And in order to claim that, you have to file that every year if you want to get your share. Okay, so first, do you file a joint return? You have to file this joint return, and did the IRS use joint payment? So basically, whether the joint return and IRS use that to pay the tax, and then yes, if this go to line 4, right? So if this, you're legally obliged. Okay, as I said, you should not be legally responsible for the debt. So if you're legally responsible, you do not file. You are not injured spouse, right? So you should know, and then 5 residents of community property states and all that, and then anytime during tax year, and 11 instructions, and then enter name and community property. This involve whether you were in the community property, and then if it's no, go to here. Right? Did you make report payments such as federal income tax withholding, estimated tax payments, and all that? Yes or no, and then you can go to jump to part 2. Okay, so I'm going to just scroll it down a tiny little bit here. So basically, you're going to say here, 7, right? Earned income, wages, salaries, self-employment income, and all that. Go to 8 or 8 and 9, right? Yes or no, and then 8 and 9. Did you claim earned credits and all that, right? So yes or no, though you go to 9. All this sometimes it's okay to say yes, or sometimes it's okay to say no. Sometimes not okay. So that really based on your specific scenario here. Okay, so as long as you are qualified, so as long as not like stop there, do not file this form, you are not injured spouse. The rest of it is just basically some requirement to provide additional information or not. Okay, so for example, the community property states or something like that, you need to enter and provide more information. Okay, but that does not ask you to stop and do not file this. As I said, I already made that in the keynotes, right? As long as you file joint return, have your own income, and pay your own taxes, not legally responsible, and file that within a certain deadline, you know what, you can do that. Okay, so basically after the part 1 is that, well, you should go to a certain part to actually do the information, right, and calculate that share. So basically part 2 is that information about joint return, right? So basically, this is like, joint return, and then this is like, oh, that joint return, right? Remember, joint return, we got like a lot of like income information and all that. I want to get some of my share back. Okay, so basically you enter that information about joint return, the name and all that, so social security number, and which of the spouse here is the injured spouse. That's like here, which of the spouse is injured, you need to check. Okay, and then so for example, if you want your refund issue in both names, or you can sort of email that into a different email address. Okay, so yeah, so basically you got a lot of options. So for example, you can file the joint return using a certain email, and then using this, and refund got another email that's completely okay. Right, so it's a very thoughtful, and of course the major part is part 3, which got like a lot of items here, right? 13 all the way to 20. And of course, you need to calculate a lot, right? And you have to make a column A must equal column B plus column C, right? So yeah, don't get too stressful because it's relatively easy. But if you are not sure, you can always find a paid preparer, right? Hire some professional to help you do that. All right. So yeah, let's quickly go through this. So first, line 13, right, is the income. So basically, we got like 2 items here: income reported on the form W2 or all other income. So basically, W2 income is like your just salary income, right? And you got amounts show on joint return, injured spouse, other spouse, right? Right in certain order. This is for injured spouse. The other is for other spouse, right? Injured spouse, other spouse. You have to fill the correct information in the correct form. Okay, do not like say, hey, I got this like other spouse here, injured spouse, or other here. So do not like mess this up. And for income, we got income report in W2 and all other income. So what's all other income? So for example, self-employment income, you got some certain investments, you got some dividend income and all that. So yeah, basically you need to got all this income and split based on ownership. Who earned it and who owned it. Okay, you split that, you fill all this information. And remember, column A must equal to column B plus C. So the amount shown in joint income must equal to the allocation, right? Allocated to the injured spouse and other spouse. Plus together, you have to add it up. Okay? So, of course, for income and then adjustment to income, it's just follow on certain order. Income, adjustment, deduction, yeah, credit and all that. So, yeah, adjustment to income. Now, for example, the RA deduction, student loan interest and all that. So basically, you also need to allocate. This is a whole form of allocation. So allocate to whoever made or paid for that deduction, you allocate that as well. So basically, it's a kind of adjustment item, and you have to make your allocation. The same column A must equal to column B plus C and stand at all times. Okay, because one is like the total number, joint return, the other is like allocated injuries and the other spouse. Okay, really, really simple. And let's continue. We also got the standardized standards. Reduce this standard deduction or item deduction. So basically, you can split standard deduction by income ratio. Okay, unless some specific scenario when an expense clearly belongs to one spouse. Okay, so for example, the mortgage interest paid from like just one spouse's account. Okay, so basically, for example, like one or two person, right? Person A and person B, right? One income is say 40%, the other income is 60%. Okay, and you're going to split the standard deduction by this income percentage. Okay, so for example, the whole thing is like I don't know, a certain number, right? 100,000, right? Maybe not that would be too much. Maybe 200,000, 200 US dollars, and then you multiply by, for example, this is like 40%, and then multiply by 60%. Okay, so then this will be person A, this will be person B. So you need to split that according to the different person's income, right? Certain percent, and split the standard deduction by the income ratio. Right, so yeah, pretty easy one here. And of course, non-refundable credits. So for example, graduation credits like child tax credits are not refundable portions. Okay, so it's not refundable. And of course, there's also allocation. The whole form, as I said, is allocation. So this allocates based on who paid tuition Okay, for example, the education, who paid tuition and who has the qualifying child per instructions. So you have to check. Okay, so you have to check and get the non-refundable credits, and also we got refundable credit. Okay, so refundable credit is like refundable. Remember we talk about the child tax credit. We got child tax credit to non-refundable portions. We already got that out, and we also got the rest of this refundable child tax credit. We got like American opportunity credit, all that. So basically, you just do not include the earned income credit here. So basically, earned income credit is the separate, okay? And of course, split. Basically, this form, calculate portion, split. And this split based on who earned the income or claim dependent. Okay? So, yeah, then you calculate that, you calculate the refundable credit. Okay? And as I said, column A must be equal to column B plus C all the time. Okay? And then all the taxes like self-employment tax and all that. And basically, this other taxes, for example, this self-employment tax, that allocated to the spouse who earn that self-employment income, right? You earn the income, you got self-employment tax. So you just, it's like attribution, okay? So, yeah, pretty simple one here. And of course, we also got the federal income tax withheld. So, here, federal income tax withheld. So that really depends on the W2. So remember, we got like a W2 here, right? W2 withholding, we got like 1099 NAC withholding. So basically, we got like a per person, right? And then you can use that to calculate the federal income tax withheld. Okay? And then, of course, the final item is a payment. So the payments include the say the estimated tax payment and any extension payments. Okay, so if you pay from a joint account, got like a account that is joint owned. So basically, also why income is very important, you still allocate by income ratio. Okay, so unless you specifically show who paid, most of the time the division of the ratio is by income ratio. Okay, so yeah, that's all the nitty-gritty items. Of course, there are tons of detailed instruction. You can also, there is like a form 8370 instructions, okay, specifically for this and how to fill and how to do the example calculation. You can check that out as well. So the general rule of thumb is that you use the income percentage method, okay? So basically, you want to say, hey, I'm an angel spouse, and you divide it by the total income, okay? That's a percentage. And that is the income percentage method. You use that to calculate your share, okay? And as I said, the income is very important, so W2 is very important. You can always attach your W2s and documentation showing the withholding payment that's specifically dedicated in your name, okay? So you can attach that for your like for the artist reference, okay? And then you just signature, and then this is your paid professionals information. So yeah, pretty straightforward. One question there and one information about the joint tax return, and then a little bit calculation. So yeah, pretty simple.